Welcome to Time in History. I'm Professor Bill. In 1099, an army entered Jerusalem believing they were building the kingdom of heaven. What they created instead was something far more human and far more fragile. Tonight, we look beyond the legend and into the steel, the dust, and the cost of conquest. Look closely. July 15th, 1099. By sunset, Jerusalem will belong to new rulers. But this is not the story of a holy victory. This is the story of what happens when faith becomes an army, and an army reaches a sacred city. By the end of this day, thousands will be dead. By the end of this century, the city will change hands again, and the kingdom of heaven that was born here will survive only by the sword. July 15th, 1099. The sun over Jerusalem is merciless. Heat trembles above pale limestone walls, turning the air into a wavering mirage. For 5 weeks, the Crusaders have surrounded this city, watching it from the dry hills, like hunters studying wounded prey. Water is scarce. Tempers are shorter than blades. They argue, they pray, they wait. Before dawn, in silence, the siege towers were rolled forward. Not elegant machines, but brutal wooden structures built from freshly cut timber, dragged across the scorched slopes of Samaria. The smell of sap still clings to the beams. Wheels grind against stone. Men push until their shoulders tear under linen and mail. They tell themselves God brought them here. After 4 years of marching from Europe through hunger, disease, and bloodshed, they need that to be true. Inside Jerusalem, the morning begins as it always has. Market stalls open. Oil lamps fade in narrow homes carved into stone. A courtyard fills with quiet footsteps. Muslim families prepare for prayer. Jewish scholars lean over scrolls. Eastern Christian clergy walk shaded alleys built centuries before these armies existed. The city does not know it is about to change forever. On the northern wall near St. Stephen's Gate, Fatimid soldiers take their positions. Egyptian men hardened by desert campaigns squint into the glare. Their armor is layered linen and leather, practical against the heat. Round shields bear scars of earlier wars. They expected reinforcements from the south. None are coming. The first ladder rises. Arrows begin to darken the sky. A crusader reaches the parapet, fingers scraping stone. Steel strikes wood. A shield jolts. Someone screams close enough to feel the fear break. And when the first breach opens, the Crusaders do not step into Jerusalem as pilgrims. They step in as conquerors. When the breach widens, order collapses in seconds. Crusaders spill through the northern gate like a released tide. There is no formation now, only momentum. Shields slam against stone walls. Sandaled feet scramble across courtyards. A door shatters. Somewhere, a man drops his spear and runs. The streets are too narrow for discipline. Combat breaks into fragments. One duel here, 3 men cornered there, a body falling in dust. The sound is not heroic. It is chaotic. Metal striking wood. Breath turning ragged. A scream cut short. No banners raised in triumph. Only the blunt mechanics of conquest. Civilians run toward whatever they believe might protect them. Some flee toward the Temple Mount. Others lock themselves behind wooden doors, never meant to withstand an army. The air thickens with smoke and dust kicked up by boots and collapsing beams. Fear moves faster than steel. On the wall, the Fatimid defenders who survive begin to fall back toward the inner streets. They understand what this means. Reinforcements are not coming. The city has been breached. And yet, in the center of Jerusalem, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre still stands untouched by the first wave of violence. Within hours, some of the Crusader leaders will walk barefoot toward it. They will kneel in prayer. They will thank God. Outside, the city burns in fragments. The contradiction is immediate and absolute. Jerusalem has fallen. In the days after the fall, Jerusalem does not celebrate. It stabilizes. Smoke still drifts from broken quarters of the city, but the violence becomes selective. The Crusader leaders understand something immediately. Taking Jerusalem was the easy part. Holding it will be the real test. The population has not disappeared. The city still breathes with people who do not belong to the new rulers. Markets reopen cautiously. Survivors move quietly through streets that now carry foreign banners. Latin prayers begin to replace Arabic calls in certain quarters. But the soundscape is fractured, uneasy. On July 22, 1099, a decision is made. Godfrey of Bouillon is chosen to lead the new state. But he refuses a crown. He will not call himself king in the city, where Christ wore a crown of thorns. Instead, he takes the title Advocate of the Holy Sepulchre. It is a symbolic gesture, and a political one. Because this is no longer just a captured city. It is the beginning of a kingdom carved into hostile territory. Fortifications are inspected, supplies counted, alliances considered. The Crusaders are a minority ruling over a region that surrounds them on all sides. To the north and east lie Muslim powers. To the south, Egypt watches carefully. Jerusalem is not secure. It is exposed. Military orders begin to take form. Armed brotherhoods sworn not only to faith, but to permanent defense. The city transforms from battlefield to fortress. And beneath the language of holiness, reality settles in. This kingdom will survive not by miracle, but by steel. The kingdom of Jerusalem is born in blood, but it is fragile from the first day. The Crusaders hold the city. But outside its walls, the world has not accepted this reality. Muslim powers across Syria and Egypt do not see a holy miracle. They see an occupation. Jerusalem is no longer a battlefield. It is an exposed outpost. The Crusader elite rules over a land where they are a minority. The countryside remains largely Muslim. Trade routes are unstable. Reinforcements from Europe arrive slowly, unpredictably. Every year, the balance of power shifts. To survive, the kingdom becomes militarized. Castles rise across the landscape, not monuments of glory, but machines of control. Fortresses guard roads. Watchtowers scan horizons. Armed brotherhoods evolve into permanent military orders. Faith becomes structure. Structure becomes defense. But steel cannot silence memory. For the Muslim world, the fall of Jerusalem in 1099 is not forgotten. It becomes a wound and a promise. In 1187, nearly 90 years later, Saladin, known in the West as Saladin, defeats the Crusader army at the Battle of Hattin. The road to Jerusalem opens again. This time, there is no massacre. Saladin enters the city not as a destroyer, but as a ruler reclaiming what he believes was taken. The kingdom of Jerusalem does not vanish immediately. It fractures. It retreats to the coast. It survives in fragments for decades. But the illusion is gone. The kingdom of heaven was never heaven. It was a fortress carved into contested land. It was steel wrapped in prayer. And like all kingdoms built by the sword, it could be taken by the sword.